Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, another phenomenal update here. We're going to start with XRP as everything has been flushing like Vincenzo's been predicting. As we zoom out now on this fabulous laptop that we have here with this beautiful screen and a fabulous picture to make this super simple and easy for my beautiful, lovely audience to trade this manipulated market. And we tried to make this as simple as possible at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing for you to follow. I don't know why my stuff is not saved on here right now. I don't know what, there we go. I don't know what all that nonsense below it is, but you can see we've tried to make this as simple as possible. And yes, there's a lot of noise and nonsense, but what we're going to do for you is to minimize some of this is we're going to start to dull this out a little bit, right? Then we're going to come back over to here and we're going to make this down to a 1. See how much better that looks? Look at this. Then we're going to take this. No, we want to click that. We're going to make this a 1, right? Then we're going to take this major area that we've been watching that is significant, make it smaller. Then we're going to take this, and we're going to make that smaller. See that? Now all this starts to go away. Now this chart gets a little bit easier to look at, and you can see here, we're going to throw that up there where there's no price action. We had that as our 46.69% crash after should say resistance on upper resistance on green ring after rejection at 125. And you say, well, what the fuck are you talking about there, Vincenzo? And as we go to the Wayback Machine in a super simple, easy way to show you the power of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing and our trading philosophy and strategy and system that we've come up with to sidestep audible to profitability to trade this market, we can see right here we have this big beautiful blue arrow and this circle that we're going to get out of there, and this was the a rejection on this green ring, right? And we traded down and did a whole bunch of things that I don't want to get into. But then we came up here and we formed this rising wedge, which we know are bearish reversal patterns. They're reversal patterns, and if they're coming up as a rising wedge and an uptrending rising wedge like this one is, an up and sideways rising wedge, those are bearish reversal patterns. They break down to the opposite side that they're moving. So if this was breaking down in a rising wedge, a falling wedge, right? It's just a upside down rising wedge. It would be a bullish reversal pattern eventually, but they can still move way up before they break down. But I seen this and I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen here. We're in a rising wedge. After we were in here, I drew this pattern out and laid out for you what was going on. And I was playing and banking on them, was calling, and that was my call, that you'd get rejected as soon as you hit that ring. So I put another big, beautiful blue arrow over here, and I said you'd get a nice fake out. And as soon as you hit this in that move, it was at about 113 and pumping, but it was coming off of a pump and got rejected. And they said, is it over? Is the fall happening now? And I said, no, it's going to quote, bam, and go up to 125 and get rejected. And it did. Came back into this descending triangle and then broke down out of that right here, fulfilled the targeted move on a wick, and then got bought back up. And I seen as we were getting bought back up, we were forming another pattern into this downtrend. And another reason that I felt more confident that all the moon boys were going to be wrong and old Vincenzo was going to be right, because I said, oh, I see what's going on here now. We're forming a descending triangle where you had descending overhead resistance, you had horizontal underneath support, right here. We'll make it the same color. See that? You had horizontal underneath support. See that? And you had, with that big beautiful blue arrow, that topping pattern that we called, you had rejection 1. Then you had a lower high come off after a big flush and got rejected again, 2 at the same area. Then another lower high at the same area but lower, descending. Then your 4th time, hit it again, descending. And then a 5th time in a fake out, or this is when you got bought back up. The 4th time on a fake out here, and then you flushed. And what is a descending triangle, right? It's a bearish continuation pattern. So you hit all those, and you had underneath resistance 1 with our beautiful blue arrow, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a flush. And the targeted move on that is from the top to the bottom to the point of a breakout, and you can see we have that overlaid here, and we'll make this bigger right now. And that was the targeted move right beautifully on this 200-day moving average. And it fulfilled the targeted move to a T. You can see that on the wick here. You can see that we wicked up beautifully. So that's how Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing goes about diagnosing, sniffing out, and detecting and overting and subverting these patterns. And then we told you right here what it likes to do now as we minimize this back down. What it likes to do after you fulfill a targeted move right here and on that green ring, you like to pump and back test the overhead resistance now that used to be underneath support when it was within this triangle. And I told you when it goes up here, the probability say it's going to come back down and double bottom. But every now and then, about a 3.369% out of 10, they pump up. And I told you if it pumps up, you're going to only come up to a double top, and that's it. And it's going to be a phenomenal gain from swing low to swing high, but that would be it, and you'd be rejected. And I never changed my overall 72-cent target. We audibled after we broke back into this descending triangle. We said it's probably going to come up now for a double top and then roll over, and it did. And everyone was calling for the moon again there, just like they were calling for it back here, and they missed the whole flush, right? Vincenzo called the flush, audibled you to give you spot on TA on how we were going to come back here at a minimum, and then we could come back up here, right? But we never changed our overall thesis in the macro trend of the long term that we were coming down to the 72-cent target, and we actually hit it and came below it, and it was a phenomenal call by Vincenzo. And that's the power of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, and why my beautiful audience has stayed loyal and supported the channel, because we don't go with the hype train. We go with what we see, not with what we want. We're not going for the momentum views by just being ultimate bullish. We'll tell you when things are bullish, but we'll also tell you to be cautious when things look to be topping out and are bearish. Just as that's how we called XRP, because we didn't change our overall thesis on a day-to-day market fluctuation, right? We wait for key things and indicators to change. So what I would look for now is, we got to zoom out a little bit. We got to go to the hour time frame. What I would look for on XRP today, and as the futures market opens today, just like with those other coins that are released in the altcoins, what I would be looking for is, if we move that out of the way, is for a flush back down to at least this orange ring, right? I would look for XRP to trade down at least to this orange ring, right? As the price action slipping after that bought back, at least to this orange ring, and see if you can't get supported. And if you can't, I would say you're going to come down and flush for a beautiful double bottom, and then you would have to see, can you get bought back up? And I think you would, and you would back test this orange ring, and then if you could hop on top of it, you could come up for a nice big gain right there, right? You would do something like this, and then fall, and double bottom right there, right? Like that, and then you could pump from this low level of 0.050 and try to pump back up over a few day period, all the way back up to your major overhead resistance at 91 cents, right? I could definitely see something like that happening, because then if you pull out the pattern a little bit, you could see that would line up beautifully if we take a trend line and go on major overhead resistance of the past, that whole downturn right there, and you can see that it would line up beautifully with that, or with this prior descending triangle back here. If we just pull this out more into the future, right, and keep it on its same path, you can see it lines up beautifully with that. So you got multiple things with confluency and multiple things lining up together, and that leads me to believe that this is a possible scenario and a possible future pattern being shown to you today, right? So that's what I would watch out for in XRP. That's what I think may be going on, and we'll keep you updated, because that would be a phenomenal swing trade from a double bottom low down here to that overhead resistance would be an 80% pump. So we'll pay attention for that in XRP. And that's good. That TA right there is going to go for a lot more coins. Like if we look at XLM, it's going to go for XLM. It's the same thing, except XLM, we got these beautiful ring system playing out, because just the setup on it was beautiful. So you can see, we'll delete that. XLM could be a similar thing right here, right? We're breaking back down from this critical blue ring right here that we back tested, but we seem to be getting rejected by it. We're going to throw this over here at the 28-cent level, right? Then we have our underneath bottom on this green ring just above this blue ring at a double bottom. Now XLM could be doing the same thing, and like I said, most of these coins are in the same thing. Watch for it to fall back to this underneath blue ring and slip and come in double bottom, and then you could play a swing trade pump, where you pump all the way back up, all the way maybe even to here at the 32-cent level, and that would be a phenomenal swing trade bottom pump, or you could play it back to the mid ground, right? So we're going to pay attention for this, as I think this may be a potential pattern. But what also could be is you come down and double bottom just like on XRP, and you get to this level and you fail it just like XRP, and you slip down to the next level, and the next level in XLM unfortunately would be a big mistake if you gamble wrong and you don't hold that double bottom, because the next level down in XLM, just as XRP, is way down, and in this case would be 13 cents, and would be a 34.69% crash. And that's the same thing that could happen on the old XRP if you fail to hold this double bottom, right? Your next level is the shithouse, right? If you fail to hold this double bottom, you're one flush away from the shithouse. You would come back to this level and not hold it. You're immediately flushing to the top end of the shithouse, and that is way down there. And I've been calling for a shithouse for a while in this coin, and that would be a 38.69% collapse, and that's not what you want to be part of. So you got to be very cautious in the market right now on swing trades, right? And then as we look to the XLM we did, and if we go to Dent, Jerome loves Dent. We got to get Dent into the mix. It is an altcoin. I didn't do it on the last altcoin update, but look at Jerome, sees that we've been advising Jerome that we were going to the shithouse, and we've indeed did get to the shithouse. And like yesterday, we put that on here. We need to doll this out a little bit. Come on. Come on, you fuck. Get this fucking orange area. Get this yellow or my red shithouse area. How far down does that shithouse go? Whatever. It's not letting me doll it. But Jerome will doll that later. But what's going on here is we think we're coming down like we talked about yesterday. We're below the 200-day in green, as Jerome knows and everybody knows. It's been following Dent. I think we're coming down to double bottom on here on the mid ground of the shithouse, right? And if we can hold that, that's where you could have a phenomenal swing trade back to your first overhead resistance right here, and your second one right above it right here on that green overhead line, right? So that's what I think is going on in Dent, Jerome, is if you're trying to play a swing trade, if you're feeling risky, you got your major overhead resistance right there, which is where the 200-day moving average is, and a horizontal at 0.0048. But at this double bottom, if we get down there right here, this would be a great time if you're a risky trader. If you want to swing trade it from a double bottom, if you see it holding and it hits it, tests it, holds it from the bottom there to the first major resistance at 0.00, the top of the shithouse, 41.85% pump from there would be a phenomenal sell zone. And then if you're watching it and it blows through it, this would be the ultimate sell zone for 65% swing trade, because I'm very bearish on the overall market. But I think you could have a double bottom here forming if you can slip down here really quick. But also, Jerome, just so you know, which I know you're a cautious, smart, savvy trader, if you watch this, you better make sure you hold it, because if you slip it, you're coming down to the next level in the shithouse, and that's down here at 0.002. It doesn't look like a big drop looking at it, but in terms of percentile, that's a 30% flush, right? If you can't hold it to the next level down, so be very cautious. We'll keep you updated at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing as the market moves and the futures market opens later on today. We appreciate the support. I love the support. Peace and love. Peace and love.